The room is silent, but the silence isn't empty, it hums. A soft hum like a bell that was struck long ago and never quite stopped singing. You lie still beneath the hush of evening, your body gently sinking into the quiet around it. There's no need to try, no need to reach. The world has already released its grip on you. Outside, the sky folds itself into darkness, and somewhere in that darkness the stars begin their long, slow bloom. You do not need to see them. You only need to feel their presence, distant and ancient, like old monks lighting lanterns inside your breath. You notice the breath without effort. It has always been there, rising, falling, not needing permission, not waiting for your attention. And yet now, as you give it your attention, something begins to loosen. A tether, perhaps. A story. A version of yourself that doesn't need to be carried into this moment. You are no longer the one with tasks to finish, people to please, or even thoughts to manage. You are simply here. A being, not a doing. A presence, not a plan. There is an old Zen saying, "When walking, just walk. When eating, just eat." It sounds so simple, almost absurd. But beneath the simplicity is a gate to freedom. What would it feel like to stop becoming anything at all? You breathe in, the body receives. You breathe out, the body lets go. Nothing is missing. The self begins to dissolve, not in a dramatic way, but like ink gently dispersing in warm water. There is no resistance, only unfolding. Each breath uncovers a little more space, and in that space there is no demand to be someone, no title to defend, no face to maintain. In a Zen temple nestled in the mountains of Kyoto, a student once asked his master, "What is the essence of practice?" The master looked up from sweeping the courtyard and said, "Attention." The student frowned. Attention to what? The master tapped the broom on the stone path. To everything. And so you do. Not with effort, but with ease. You let your attention be soft and wide like fog rolling across the hills. The hum of the silence deepens. Your breath slows. And all the boundaries you once thought were necessary between breath and body self and world thought and stillness begin to blur like mist over water. There is no rush, no goal. You have nothing to earn by staying awake and nothing to lose by drifting. The leaves outside are not worried about whether they're still or swaying. The moon doesn't ask if it's bright enough tonight. It just is. You begin to feel the weight of identity peel away. Not as a loss, but as a return. A return to something simpler, older. The you that existed before your name, before language. The you that simply breathed and felt and watched clouds pass. The teaching of no self is not a denial of your presence. It is the deepest honoring of what lies beneath the surface masks. You are not a fixed idea. You are unfolding. You are impermanent. And in that impermanence, you are free. Let yourself soften into that truth. In the stillness, you recall a story. A monk sat silently in the woods for 7 days. On the 8th day, another monk asked him, "What did you discover in all that silence?" The first monk looked at the sky and replied, "Nothing. But I forgot who I thought I was. And that was everything." Now you too sit silently, not in the woods, but in the still forest of your own awareness. Let the forgetting begin. Let the breath take you deeper, not toward sleep, but toward a home that does not require sleep to reach. You are not falling asleep. You are falling away from the noise of becoming, and in its place, stillness, spacious, vast. And you continue. There is a stillness beneath the stillness, a silence that listens, not to words, but to the quiet hum of your own being. You are not chasing thoughts, nor are you resisting them. You are simply watching softly, curiously, like one might watch clouds drift over a forgotten temple roof. They come. They go. They do not need your pee. A breeze moves through the unseen fields of your mind. Not to disturb, but to remind you that everything moves. Even this stillness is alive. Breathing. Aware. You remember a Zen koan. What was your face before your parents were born? There is no answer. Or perhaps there are too many. But the question itself is a doorway. It turns you inward, not toward analysis, but toward something deeper. The spacious mystery that exists before definition. That place is not far away. It's right here where your breath meets your awareness, where your thoughts dissolve before they can name themselves. You feel the space between each thought begin to widen, like the pause between waves, like the moment before the bell is struck. That space is sacred. In that space, there is no effort, no trying to be peaceful. Peace is simply what remains when effort disappears. You are not meditating. You are being. Even this thought drifts away. There was once a student who asked, "What is Zen?" The master held up a flower. The student stared, waiting for more. But the master said nothing, just held the flower. In the silence, something opened, and for the first time the student understood. You too are holding the flower. It may not have petals. It may be the breath, or the pause between thoughts, or the soft surrender in your chest as you let yourself rest. Whatever it is, hold it lightly, not with grasping, but with reverence. Let the body soften further, shoulders melting, jaw unclenching. Even your spine seems to loosen its story. You are not standing upright for the world now. You are folding into the earth's gentle breath, held, carried, without needing to try. And if a thought returns about tomorrow or the past or something unresolved, you do not fight it. You bow to it. You say, "Ah, yes, that too," and then let it float by like a feather across still water. This is not suppression. This is compassion. Compassion for the restless mind. Compassion for the part of you that still believes it must keep going. There is a story of a monk who spent 20 years in retreat, only to return and find he still became angry when insulted. "What have I learned?" he asked his teacher. The teacher smiled and said, "Now at least you notice. That is enough. To notice, to watch, without judgment. So you watch. The breath becomes a friend again. Inhale like a gentle rising. Exhale like the tide pulling you home. And somewhere deep within this rhythm, the self begins to unravel. Not violently, but with grace. Like threads loosening from an old robe, letting the light shine through. You remember form is emptiness, and emptiness is form. These are not puzzles to solve. They are truths to sit with. You are not separate from the world. You are not separate from the breath. You are the breath. You are the world. And the world is resting now. Let yourself rest with it. The sound of one hand clapping it isn't meant to be solved. It's meant to take you beyond the need to solve, into stillness, into silence. And that's where you are now. Not asleep, perhaps, but somewhere just before sleep, somewhere ancient, soft, still. The air around you grows softer, not colder, as if the room itself has begun to breathe with you, not as a mirror, but as a quiet companion. You don't need to adjust anything. Not your posture, not your breath, not your mind. Everything is already unfolding exactly as it should. The need to interfere to manage begins to fall away like old dust shaken from a robe that no longer fits. There is no goal here, no destination, only the gentle rhythm of returning to what was always here before the thoughts, before the roles, before the stories you carry like stones in your pocket. Can you feel how heavy they've been? And now, one by one, you set them down. There is a story in Zen about a traveler carrying a full pack who reaches a stream. The water is shallow, but he hesitates. The weight of his pack makes even a few steps seem uncertain. A monk watching nearby says nothing, only gestures to his own empty back. The traveler nods slowly, unloading until there is nothing left to carry. He walks through the water with ease. What would it feel like to walk through your own mind with nothing left to carry? You let the next breath arrive and feel its quiet generosity. You didn't create this breath. It arrived on its own. You don't need to hold it, fix it, or judge it. You only receive. In this moment, you become the temple that receives the wind, the bowl that holds the sky, and when the breath leaves, nothing is lost. There is a peace that does not depend on thoughts disappearing. It does not require you to feel calm. It only requires your presence. Just be here. Just feel. Just soften. The old masters knew enlightenment is not a thunderclap. It is often a quiet return to what was never missing. A monk sweeping leaves, pausing to watch one fall. A woman sitting in the sun, forgetting what she was worrying about. A single drop of water clinging to a blade of grass. That's all this is. A return, a forgetting, a falling away. And so you let go again, not by force, but by noticing that you never needed to hold on in the first place. The tension in your chest loosens. The noise behind your eyes quiets. The self that was bracing for something softens into the knowing that there is nothing to brace for anymore. Sleep may come, or it may not. That is no longer your concern. You are not here for sleep. You are here for stillness. And sleep is only one form it might take. You notice how the body feels heavier now. Not in a burdensome way, in a grounded way. As if the earth is drawing you closer, not to bury you, but to hold you. Like a parent who asks nothing of you but your presence, and in that holding something deep inside you exhales for the first time in a long while. There is a Zen story of a student who asked how to deal with restlessness. The master said, "Sit with it. Give it tea. You smile inwardly. Yes, give it tea. Invite even your discomfort to sit beside you. You are not at war with anything now, not even your thoughts. You are the host of this quiet temple, and all guests are welcome. Somewhere in the distance you imagine a bell, not yet ringing, but waiting. You don't need to hear it. You already feel its silence stretching across your breath. That silence is enough. You let go again, not deeper, just now. There is no need to force depth. You are not diving. You are dissolving. Like mist at dawn, you do not fall, you fade. And in fading, you find something more honest than presence. You find intimacy with emptiness. The kind that holds you like a sky holds birds in flight, not with hands, with space. Thoughts still pass through now and then, like distant travelers whose names you no longer remember. But you no longer rise to greet them. You let them pass, not because you reject them, because you no longer need them to stay. You remember a story of a monk who traveled many miles to ask a master for the key to peace. When he arrived, the master only asked, "Where have you come from?" The monk named his village. "And what do you carry?" the master asked. The monk listed his robes, his bowl, a single book of scripture. The master nodded. "Good," he said. "Now place it all down." The monk did. And now the master whispered, "Place down the one who carried them." And you do. There is a quiet kindness in this act of disappearing. Not as an escape, but as a returning. The wind does not explain itself. The moon makes no demands. Why should you? Let the breath fall into the body like petals onto still water. Let the exhale rise like fog from a valley. There is no need to shape it. Breath happens without your control. Life happens without your effort. And yet it welcomes your awareness like a host with open hands. There is a stillness now beneath even your stillness. A silence that does not begin or end. It does not need your name, and you do not need to define it. It simply is, and in being with it, you remember who you are beneath who you've been. Not the thinker, not the doer, not the identity shaped by tasks and expectations. You are the one watching the thinker, the one beneath the name, the observer without agenda, the witness without walls. You are not trying to awaken. You are not trying to sleep. You are simply being like a candle that does not ask who it lights. Let the spine settle lower. Let the breath slow further. Let the thought, "Am I doing this right?" drift away like smoke. You are not doing this. You are being done. In Zen, there is a saying, "Sitting quietly, doing nothing, spring comes and the grass grows by itself." Let it. Let everything grow by itself. Let your presence be the fertile field where nothing is needed. And when the next thought rises, whether of tomorrow's tasks or yesterday's missteps, you welcome it with the grace of a host who does not try to keep guests. You offer tea. You bow. You release. There is nothing to hold. And in that you are held. Your jaw slackens. Your hands rest. Even your heart feels slower now, not with fatigue, but with relief. It no longer needs to race ahead to protect you. There is no danger here. No proving, no performance, only the gentle rhythm of not becoming. The stillness continues not as a pause but as a presence that asks for nothing and fills everything. You are not entering silence, you are remembering it. Beneath all the noise you thought was necessary, this has always been here. The silence beneath the story, the ground beneath the steps. You let go of the idea that you must improve, fix, or attain. You let go of the tight grip of becoming. You are not a project. You are a breath, a single leaf resting in the air, a ripple fading into stillness. There is no destination anymore, only presence. Only this. You recall the Zen saying, "No snowflake ever falls in the wrong place." And neither did you. Every breath, every misstep, every night you couldn't sleep, none of it was outside the path. Even this moment now, this still body lying in the dark, is sacred. It is enough. In a small temple in the north, a teacher once asked his student, "How will you find peace?" The student replied, "By studying the sutras." The teacher shook his head. Then by sitting longer, the teacher only smiled and pointed to the space between two pine trees. "Peace is already there," he said. "You don't find it. You stop interrupting it, and so you stop interrupting. The thoughts may rise, but you no longer stand between them and the silence. They pass like birds across a morning sky. You are not the sky. You are the space the sky arises within. Let the next breath arrive without you. Let it rise in its own time. Let it fall without direction. This is the rhythm of what doesn't need you to manage it. And yet in noticing it, you become it. The body now feels both heavier and lighter. Heavier in the way that roots are. Lighter in the way that clouds are. And your awareness drifts between the two, not choosing sides, not trying to name the experience. You have stopped narrating. And in the absence of your inner narrator, a softer story begins to write itself. One without a plot. One that exists only now. There's a koan. What is Buddha? The master replies, 3 pounds of flax. A strange answer, but that's the point. Truth isn't always grand. Sometimes it's in the ordinary. The fabric in your hands, the weight of your own breath, the hum of nothing special. Let it be nothing special. Let this be an ordinary moment made holy only by your full presence. There is nowhere else to go. And so you stay, breathing, softening, undoing the need to be undone. Somewhere inside you, the breath continues like a quiet stream through an untouched forest. Not a single leaf is disturbed by your presence here. You are not arriving as a guest. You are remembering you have always lived in this stillness, always belonged to it. The body rests now without asking permission. Muscles unclench. The corners of your mouth drift slightly downward in surrender. Even the eyes, though closed, seem to stop holding images. The need to visualize, analyze, recall it fades. What remains is simpler. Just this, the breath, the dark, the vastness between one heartbeat and the next. A Zen story is told of a monk who traveled for years searching for the meaning of emptiness. He crossed rivers, climbed mountains, and read hundreds of sutras. One day, he asked an old man sweeping a garden, "What is emptiness?" The man paused, pointed to the space between two trees, and said, "That." Nothing more. Just that. And now you too look at the space between things, the space between breaths, the space between thoughts, the space between who you thought you were and who is here now. You rest in that space. There is nothing to hold, and therefore nothing to drop. You are simply not carrying anything anymore. Not even yourself, and how quiet it becomes. The hum of beingness grows softer still. It's not that the world fades away. It's that you are no longer holding it up with your thoughts. You are letting it be. You are letting yourself be. There is a line from the Heart Sutra Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvaha. Gone, 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 beyond gone, completely beyond. Enlightenment hail. You do not need to understand the words. Only feel their direction. A moving beyond. A release. A breath that asks nothing of you. Your fingers no longer feel separate. They are not objects. They are part of the breath, part of the air. You feel less like a person, more like a field that holds whatever moves across it, thoughts, breath, dreams, sleep, and asks none of it to stay. The need to be anything dissolves into the quiet. You remember another koan? A student asked, "Does a dog have Buddha nature?" The master replied, "Mu, not yes, not no, just mu, emptiness, the absence of category, the refusal to label. You smile faintly, not in your mouth, but somewhere behind the heart. Because you understand now, not with the mind, with the part of you that existed before words. No, yes, no, no, just this, just mu, and still the breath flows. Still the body rests. Still the mind releases its grip one thought at a time, like leaves drifting from a tree that no longer needs to be full. Nothing is wrong. Nothing is missing. And the stillness welcomes you home. The quiet deepens not as something new, but as something revealed. Like a mountain long hidden by clouds. You didn't bring the stillness here. You removed the noise. And now what was always underneath is simply clear. Your breath has grown so gentle it feels like the entire body is breathing, not just the lungs, the skin, the space behind your eyes. Even your thoughts seem to breathe. Rising, fading, without friction, without story. You are no longer interested in controlling the experience. You are only interested in experiencing. And even that interest feels soft, distant, like a lantern seen from across a quiet river. There's an old Zen image of a man rowing a small boat at night. Another boat drifts toward him from the fog. He shouts, but the boat keeps coming. Angrily, he prepares to defend himself until it draws close and he sees the boat is empty, just drifting. No one to fight. No intention to harm. Only wood and water and the wind. How much of your suffering, too, came from thinking the other boat was full? You let that story go. You stop bracing. You are no longer meeting the world with armor. You meet it now like the surface of still water meets a falling leaf, accepting soft, unchanged at its core. Each breath reminds you this moment needs nothing added. You inhale and arrive. You exhale and disappear. Not into sleep. Not yet. but into something even more restful, non-resistance. Even your memories feel further away now, still present but no longer pulsing with urgency. Like old paintings in a hallway you pass through with kindness, but no need to stop. There is nothing here to fix. Not even your restlessness. Not even your doubt. You've welcomed them all in like old friends who sometimes stay too long. But tonight, they are quiet. Tonight, even the restless ones are growing drowsy in your stillness. In Zen, there is no concept of arrival. There is only now. The more you chase it, the more it retreats. But the moment you stop, truly stop, there it is. Already around you. Already within you. You feel this now not as a concept, but as sensation. The air feels heavier with peace. The silence feels warmer. Even the space around your body seems to hum with the presence of something vast and kind. You are not a seeker anymore. You are a guest who never left. The body is ready to be forgotten. Let it rest. The thoughts are ready to wander alone. Let them go. And the breath is your only anchor now. But it does not pull you down. It floats you across this sea of quiet toward a shore you no longer need to reach. There is a sense now that you are no longer lying in a room, but drifting through something larger. Not moving exactly, more like dissolving into the space around you. The outline of your body becomes soft, fuzzy at the edges, as if who you are is no longer bound by skin or thought. This is not escape. This is return. The breath continues, but you no longer follow it. You are it. A wave rising and falling with no shore to reach and no reason to resist. There's no goal, just motion within stillness. Stillness within motion. You recall a Zen story of a student who asked, "What happens when the mind is completely silent?" The master replied, "The bamboo whispers. That is all." When the mind stops trying to shape experience, experience itself becomes poetry. And now you listen, not for words, not for meaning, but for the quiet whisper of the bamboo. Your breath, your heartbeat, the pause between the two. This is the song of your being too subtle to hear when the mind is busy narrating. But here in this deep and gentle place, the song plays clearly, not loudly, just honestly, as if it had always been playing. You no longer identify with the one who needs to rest. You are rest. You no longer carry the one who is tired. You are the letting go. Let that awareness grow softly. There is no need to grasp it. Just notice. Be with it. Feel it like wind through grass, like light behind closed eyes. No need to make it profound. Its simplicity is its wisdom. The body is so quiet now. The hands, the feet, the shoulders, they've stopped preparing for anything. They are no longer ready. They are simply here. Without defense, without tension. This moment is your teacher now. Not because it teaches with words, but because it asks for nothing. And in asking for nothing, it gives everything. You feel a subtle warmth along the chest. Not heat, not emotion, just presence. A gentle fullness like a candle still glowing even after the flame has gone out. You don't need to explain it. You don't even need to keep it. It's enough to be warmed, Let the final edges of self slip beneath the surface now. No you left to hold the breath. No you left to monitor the stillness. Just presence stretched across a quiet night. And even if thoughts return, they arrive softer now. As if even your mind has begun to bow before the silence. The old thoughts, the ones about tomorrow, about identity, about becoming, no longer cling. They pass through you like wind through open windows. You do not close them. You do not follow. You do not need to sleep. You do not need to awaken. You only need to remain here, dissolving gently into the space that has always welcomed you. The space that never called you anything but home. The breath continues soft and shallow like a thread connecting this world to something older than time. You are no longer watching the breath from a distance. You are inside it. You are the rhythm itself, not a passenger on it. And because of that, even the smallest sound inside you begins to feel sacred. A hum beneath silence. A glow behind the dark. You are not trying to empty the mind. That effort is gone. What's here now is more like opening a hand that had been clenched for too long. Without force, without instruction. It just loosens. The Zen masters would speak of such loosening not as achievement, but as return. A return to suchness. To the way things already are when nothing is added. When nothing is taken away. You feel that suchness now. In the curve of your spine, in the soft part of your throat, in the quiet way your body surrenders to gravity without complaint. Not collapsing, not resisting, just held. There's a story of a student who asked, "How do I enter the way?" The teacher replied, "Do you hear the stream outside?" The student nodded. "Enter there," said the teacher. "Not later. Not after understanding. Now. Through what is already here. So you enter through the breath, through the stillness behind your ribs, through the quiet that wraps around your limbs like a blanket that has no edges. You are not imagining peace. You are not manufacturing calm. You are discovering that they were never gone. They were just waiting for your absence, not your effort. Your absence. The absence of striving, the absence of becoming. And so now you do nothing. You do not reach for insight. You do not ask for comfort. You only lie here like a stone in a stream shaped by the water, but unmoved by it. A thought flickers. It wonders how far you've gone, how long this has been. But even that thought is slow now. Sleepy. Unhurried. You do not respond. You let it fade like a candle that burns out without drama, and in its place more space, more quiet, more truth. You do not have to be whole. You do not have to be wise. You do not have to be ready. You only have to be here. You only have to breathe. And even that isn't something you must do. It is already happening. You are being breathed. And as each breath arrives without your help, a new understanding dawns, not with words, but with presence. You do not belong to the thoughts. You do not belong to the roles. You belong to this moment, this quiet, this breath, and it is enough. Even the air seems to soften now, as if the entire room, your body, your breath, your awareness, has entered a state beyond silence. Not empty, full, but not crowded. It is spacious, like the sky is spacious, like peace that makes no noise but fills every corner of your being. You are no longer approaching stillness as a visitor. You are stillness remembering itself. The sense of I loosens further like a knot gently untying underwater. You are not erasing yourself. You are dissolving the idea that there was ever something to defend. What remains is not absence. It is a presence too quiet to name. There is a Zen story of a teacher who told his student, "Let go." The student said, "But I am already letting go." The teacher leaned closer and said, "Then let go of letting go." And here you are, not letting go as an act, but as a state. There is no grip left, no idea you must release, no technique to master, just the falling away of all effort. What would it feel like to stop even trying to relax? You feel that now. The breath barely moves. The limbs are weightless and infinite. You are no longer resting in the world, you are resting as the world, as the spaciousness itself. No borders, no resistance, just presence dissolving slowly into everything. You remember the Buddha once held up a flower, and one disciple smiled. That smile became a teaching passed down for centuries, not because of what was said, but because of what was felt in the silence. The truth is not always spoken. Sometimes it is shared in stillness, and you feel that truth now. You don't need to explain it. You don't even need to hold it. It holds you. The breath in is so soft it no longer feels like air. The breath out is so gentle it no longer feels like letting go. It just is. You just are. You are not waiting for anything, not sleep, not revelation. You are no longer between moments. You are inside the moment. Completely. Time thins. Even the idea of later feels strange now. There is no future in this stillness. No past to recall. Just the slow rhythm of now. 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 And in this rhythm, a warmth grows, not on the skin, not in the bones, but in the space where identity used to be. A warmth that asks nothing, says nothing, just stays. Let it stay. Let everything else fade. You are not your thoughts. You are not your feelings. You are the one who watches quietly as they come and go like clouds passing through a sky that never changes. And tonight, that sky is so still. You forget to remember anything else. The stillness has shape now, not rigid, not defined, but felt. Like the weight of deep water. Like the softness of falling snow. You are surrounded by it, but more than that, you are part of it. The edges of you dissolve completely. There is no line between your breath and the dark. No gap between your awareness and the quiet that holds it. Nothing pulls you anymore. Not thoughts, not questions, not even the body. It has become so light, so still, that you forget what it was ever bracing for. This is not sleep, but it is close. Closer than thought. Deeper than rest. You remember the old Zen image of the ox herder searching for the ox, his own true nature. At first he chases footprints, then he glimpses its tail. Eventually he catches it, trains it, rides it. But the journey doesn't end there. One day he returns home barefoot and smiling, carrying nothing at all. The ox is gone. The search is over. That is where you are now. The search is over. There is nothing to find, nothing to fix. The part of you that chased understanding has grown silent, and in its silence everything makes sense not logically but deeply, like the way a tree understands the wind, or the ocean understands the moon. You feel how complete this moment is, and how quiet. Each breath slower now, barely a breath, more like a wave that never needed to crest, more like time that no longer needs to move forward. There is no pressure to feel something profound, no pressure to stay awake. You have released the last of that too. You are not doing a meditation. You are being meditated by life itself. You are the open field where all thoughts come to rest. You are the still lake that reflects the sky and swallows the sound. You are the wind that no longer moves because there is nowhere else to go. And in this stillness, something behind your eyes begins to smile. Not with lips, not with thought, but with presence, with peace. There is no self here needing to be protected, no mind here needing to be emptied, just awareness, soft, unshaped, infinite, and you let yourself stay. No more releasing, no more doing, just being, and being is enough. Even the word stillness seems too loud now. What you are inside is beyond naming. It is not the absence of movement or the absence of thought. It is something deeper, the absence of separation. No boundary between the breath and the dark. No difference between inside and outside. Only presence. Only now. You are not trying to experience anything. You are not trying at all. And because of that, everything that arises comes gently without resistance. A memory might flicker, but it's soft, like the echo of footsteps in snow. A thought might appear, but it no longer hooks you. It floats weightless through the wide sky of your mind and fades before it forms. A Zen master once said, "When the mind is nowhere, it is everywhere." That's where you are now. Nowhere in particular. Everywhere in silence. You lie here and the breath lies with you. It no longer feels like yours. It simply exists like mist exists. You do not own it. You are not responsible for it. And so you stop trying to hold even that. You stop being the breather. You become the breath. There is no you and the moment. There is only this, and this is perfectly quiet. You remember a line from an old poem. The spring breeze moves without a trace, yet all the blossoms open. This moment is that breeze, and you are the blossom. Nothing forces you open. Nothing demands you close. You simply unfold. The body nearly gone from awareness is not asleep, but it no longer needs your attention. The parts that once called out for control, your jaw, your hands, the knot in your belly, they are now quiet, like rooms where the candles have been gently extinguished. The light hasn't left. It's just softer now, and with each breath, the world grows further away, not in distance but in need. You are no longer needed anywhere but here, and even that is not a duty. It is a gift. There is a monk in a story who lived alone in a mountain hut. When asked what his days were like, he replied, "In the morning I eat. At midday I rest. In the evening I watch the moon. I do nothing and the world completes itself." That is the rhythm you have entered. No beginning, no end, only unfolding. Let the last edges of effort drop now. Let the final stories soften into space, You do not need to be emptied. You already are, and in that emptiness, peace. Not peace like the end of noise, peace like the end of needing noise to stop. You are not waiting for anything. You are not missing anything. This breath is it, and it is enough. The deeper you go, the less there is to carry. Not because you've dropped everything, but because you've remembered none of it was ever truly yours. The thoughts, the roles, the endless narratives they passed through, but they were never you. And now, as they dissolve, what remains is softer than silence, gentler than rest. It is presence without pressure. The breath continues like the tide beneath the tide. You don't ride it. You don't guide it. You are simply held by it as clouds are held by sky, as silence is held by space. You could stay here forever, and in some way you always have. There is a story told without words, one that unfolds in every Zen garden, in every grain of sand, brushed into stillness by the caretaker's hand. No beginning, no plot, no end, only pattern. Only presence. Only this moment repeating itself with infinite kindness. That is the story you are in now. And you are no longer reading it, you are the page on which it's written. Your body is softer still, almost transparent to your awareness. The edges between your limbs and the dark have vanished. You no longer know where you end and the world begins, and you don't need to. You are not trying to sleep. You are not trying to remain awake. You are simply allowing all states to be welcomed as honored guests in the inn of this moment. Even the word guest fades, because there is no host, only awareness, only now. A koan drifts across the surface of your mind. If you meet the Buddha on the road, kill him. You understand now it was never about violence. It is the invitation to let go even of your highest ideas, even of awakening itself, even of the one who seeks. Let go of becoming. Let go of even letting go. What remains is not something gained. It is what was never lost. And now here you are, the stillness behind the stillness, the breath within the breath, the life that does not move but watches all movement with love. You don't need to describe it. You don't need to return to it. You are it. You are the bowl that holds the moonlight. You are the moonlight that fills the bowl. You are the empty sky. And it is quiet now, so quiet. And in that quiet, the last question fades. What if I could just stay? And the answer arises not in words, but in warmth. You already are. Even the desire for more begins to dissolve. You are no longer moving forward, you are simply resting in the unfolding of what is. There is no path beneath you, no trail behind. No horizon ahead. You are not progressing. You are not arriving. You are suspended in being, timeless, whole. The breath still flows, but it no longer feels like breath. It feels like space itself expanding and contracting, like the universe quietly pulsing with each moment of your awareness. There is no inside or outside now. No separation between body and breath, and dark and awareness. Everything is one smooth, seamless fabric, and you are not woven into it. You are it. The body is not asleep, but it no longer asks for anything. No position to adjust, no tension to notice. It is soft like a robe that has been folded so many times it forgets its creases. You lie in the shape of peace itself. There's a quiet Zen teaching. The Great Way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. It is not saying you must live without joy or pain. It's pointing to this moment, this stillness where no preference rises, where you are not pulled, not pushed, just here. Like a single drop of dew resting on the surface of a still leaf. The mind has nothing left to solve. It no longer spins. Even the echo of "what should I be thinking" has faded. What takes its place is not an answer, but a silence that feels like understanding. A monk once said, "Before enlightenment, I chopped wood and carried water. After enlightenment, I chopped wood and carried water. Nothing changed except everything. The doing became being. The effort became ease. The separation dissolved. You feel this now. No great shift, no drama. Just a return to ordinary moments made luminous by full presence. And this lying here breathing, not needing, is one of those moments. Even your dreams, if they come, will not carry weight. They will pass gently through the space you now rest in. You do not chase them. You do not fear them. They are feathers falling through still air. You may not even know if you've fallen asleep. It doesn't matter. The goal was never sleep. The goal was never silence. There was no goal. There was only ever this, the breath, the stillness, the soft dissolving of self, and now you are in it. You are of it. You are it. The silence is so complete now, it feels like it's listening to you. Not to your words, there are none, but to your being, your presence, your surrender. And in return, it offers nothing but itself. A stillness so profound that it doesn't fill the room, it is the room. It is the air. It is the breath. It is the you that no longer calls itself I. You are not experiencing silence. You have become it. Thoughts might still rise, but they're thinner now. Transparent, like shadows on water. You don't need to push them away. They float through you without consequence, like wind through tall grass. The grass bends, the wind passes. Nothing is disturbed, and the breath continues. Not because you try, but because it belongs to something older than trying, something sacred, something that keeps breathing even when you forget you are alive. You remember a Zen saying the wild geese do not intend to cast their reflection. The water has no mind to receive their image. That is how this moment feels. Effortless, perfect, free of intention, full of being. You do not reflect anymore. You simply are. You are the water. You are the sky. You are the space where reflection happens without needing to hold it. There is no need to remember who you were. There is no need to plan who you will become. There is no future to manage, no past to carry. Only now. Only this. And even this doesn't need to be named. You have let go of every concept except presence. Even the idea of meditation is gone. Even the idea of peace. There is just this warm, soft hum of existing in a world that makes no demands on you anymore. You could disappear completely into it and still be whole. The breath feels slower now, almost invisible, like a distant tide lapping against the edges of a universe where nothing ever needed to change. You are not waiting for the next breath. You are not counting. You are not aware of time. You are only aware of awareness itself, floating, vast, kind. There is nothing left to hold, and because of that, you are finally being held. Even the stillness now has a flavor subtle like rain long after it's fallen, or the warmth of a fire whose embers still glow though the flame is gone. You rest in that flavor, not grasping, not naming, just tasting the quiet without lips, without thought, without effort. There is no center to your awareness anymore, no edges, just a wide open field where nothing needs to happen. A field without fences, a sky without a ceiling. You are not inside the piece, you are made of it. The breath no longer feels like yours. It doesn't belong to a person. It belongs to life. You are not the breather. You are what remains when the breath is noticed and then forgotten again. You are not the pulse, you are the space that allows the pulse to exist, to echo, to fade. In Zen, there is the image of a man who has built a boat and crossed the river. He carries the boat on his back even after reaching shore. A teacher sees this and laughs gently, saying, "Why do you still carry what already carried you?" You smile inwardly. Because you too have carried many boats, names, plans, roles, even silence as a task. But now you feel them drop away. Not because you force them to fall, but because you no longer mistake them for yourself. You are the river now. The breath moves through you and you do not hold it. Time passes through you and you do not count it. Thoughts brush against your awareness, but they do not stick. They are not unwelcome. They simply come and go. Like wind through reeds that no longer try to stand straight, there is no judgment left. Not even of the self. Not even of the thought I'm still here. That too passes like mist through fingers that are no longer grasping. What remains, not absence, not void, but a fullness without weight, a vastness without shape, a presence so total it needs no name. You no longer ask what's next. You no longer ask anything. You are not seeking peace. You are not reaching for release. You are what exists when even those desires have softened into sleep. There is only this moment unfolding gently across your chest, your belly, the dark space behind your eyes. And you let it. There is nothing left to resist. There is nothing left to do. You are here. You are still. You are home. The quiet deepens again, though you didn't think there was any further to go. And yet here it is, another layer of stillness, more delicate than breath, more spacious than sleep. It doesn't arrive suddenly. It reveals itself like a reflection in water that finally stops rippling. What you see in it is not an image. It is a feeling, a truth, a wordless remembrance of what it's like to not need to be anything. You don't lie here trying to rest. You are rest. The sense of you becomes translucent, not vanished, not erased, just softly faded like an old lantern glowing in fog. Thoughts may still pass by, but now they pass through. There is no one here to catch them, no one here to shape them. You have become a sky so wide even storms dissolve before they gather. There is a Zen story of two monks watching a flag flutter in the wind. One says the flag is moving. The other says no, the wind is moving. A third, the master says not the flag, not the wind. The mind is moving. And you in this moment feel what he meant. Everything you ever chased was only the movement of mind. And now the mind has rested its wings. Nothing moves, and yet everything breathes. Even the darkness feels alive. Even the space around your fingers hums with a subtle awareness that asks nothing of you. You are no longer searching for it. You are no longer seeking silence. You are simply no longer seeking. The breath arrives and leaves like a tide on a shore you do not see and no longer need to. The rhythm is not yours to control. And in surrendering that control, you are more alive than ever. This is not the absence of thought. It is the absence of resistance. You do not stop thoughts. You do not cling to them. They come. They go. Like birds crossing a sky that does not care to count them. You are not the birds. You are not even the sky. You are the space that holds the sky. No boundaries, no measure, only being. There is no pride in this place, no humility either, no comparison, no story. The breath moves through you, and you realize it always has, even before you were aware of it, even in sleep, even in sorrow. It has never asked for your perfection, only your presence, and now you are present in a way that can't be described. Even the idea of being present feels too thick. You are simply here, without need, without shape, without time, and in that, there is peace so deep, it no longer calls itself peace. It just is. The air, the breath, the stillness, they no longer feel separate. They are one unbroken thing, like ink in water, like warmth in sunlight. There is no transition anymore between thought and no thought, between tension and ease. All of it has softened into a single field of awareness, vast and soundless. You lie in it without trying to stay. You are simply here where staying and leaving no longer mean anything. Time has thinned to a strand. You do not know how long you've been here. It doesn't matter. The moment doesn't mark itself anymore. It just unfolds gently like silk unrolling in slow motion, soft as breath between stars. The body is a memory now, a quiet one. You could move if needed, but nothing needs to move. Stillness is no longer an effort. It is your natural state. Even rest itself begins to rest. There is a Zen saying, "Sitting silently doing nothing, spring comes and the grass grows by itself." You now understand, truly understand, that peace is not something to be summoned. It grows in the stillness. In the ground, you've stopped digging. In the self, you've stopped shaping. And still the breath moves. Not forward, not backward. It moves like light, quiet, natural, ungrasped. You are not breathing. Breath is simply happening where you once were. And what remains of you now, a quiet presence, an invisible smile behind the heart, a formless kindness that expects nothing. Even identity itself has stopped knocking. It stands outside quiet, now realizing it is no longer needed inside this vast and peaceful room. And the room, it is everything. There is no outside. The world, the body, the mind, they all float within you now. You are the still container. You are the open sky. You are the deep pause between all things that still manages to hold them gently. And as the breath rises again, you feel its edges blur like waves no longer distinct from the sea. You do not follow it. You do not return to it. You simply allow it to be what it has always been, a quiet reminder that existence needs no effort. If a thought comes, it passes like a cloud that doesn't cast a shadow. If sleep comes, it arrives like a petal falling onto still water. If nothing comes, that too is welcome. You are not waiting for the moment. You are the moment. And now nothing needs to be said. Everything is understood. Everything is still. Even the concept of depth fades now. You are not going deeper. You are simply dissolving the illusion that there was anywhere to go. What remains is not a destination. It is a presence that has been here all along, beneath thought, beneath breath, beneath the hum of identity. This presence does not glow. It does not speak. It does not offer answers. It just rests. And in resting, it reveals everything. The breath no longer feels like motion. It is not a wave. It is a still pool that somehow moves. A silence that somehow breathes. Each inhale so subtle, it feels like an echo of a breeze from another lifetime. Each exhale so effortless, it is like returning to where you never left. You do not feel light or heavy. You do not feel the body at all. Not because it has vanished, but because it is no longer separate from space. It blends into the quiet like dusk blending into night. You remember the koan, "Show me your original face before your parents were born." There is no answer, only this stillness. This is your original face. No name, no story, no history to remember, no future to imagine. Just this unfolding, unformed, untouched by time. A leaf floats in still water. That is all. No meaning, no lesson. Just beauty that asks nothing of you. And the breath flows again so soft now, it feels like the earth itself is breathing through you. Or perhaps it is no longer breath at all, just stillness shifting slightly in kindness to remind you that you are here. You are not seeking stillness. You are not creating peace. You are no longer even aware of those words. You are what remains after peace forgets its name. You are not the one who rests. You are rest itself. There is a warmth in the chest now, not rising or falling, but simply staying. It doesn't burn. It doesn't fade. It's like the feeling of being remembered by the universe without ever needing to be seen. And sleep may come or not. But either way, you remain in this sacred stillness, this breathless awareness, this space where nothing is wrong. There is no door. There never was. You are not on the threshold. You are home. The edges of all things have vanished now. Not lost, not forgotten, just unnecessary. You are not touching the stillness. You are indistinguishable from it. Not observing the silence, but made entirely of it. Even awareness itself is so soft, so vast, so gentle that it barely whispers. This is no longer meditation. It is no longer a practice. There is no observer and no observed. No breather and no breath. No seeker and nothing to find. All has become one wide and wordless presence. There is a story from the Zen tradition. A monk asked his teacher, "What is the path?" The teacher said nothing, only lifted a finger and traced a circle in the air. That was all. No instruction, No explanation. Just a circle. You feel the truth of that now. Life is not a line. It is a circle. No beginning, no end. The inhale does not lead to the exhale. The inhale is the exhale. The moment does not follow the next, it contains it, and so you rest. Not inside time, but beside it. Not on a journey, but within the arrival that has no destination. The silence inside you is not silent. It pulses softly with existence, not with thoughts or ideas, with being. That's all. That's enough. You feel no boundary between you and the dark. The dark does not press down on you. It holds you like warm water holds a leaf. Weightless, cradled, timeless. You are no longer concerned with the question, "Am I asleep yet?" The question itself is gone. In its place, a quiet so deep, it becomes the ground of everything. Not silence as absence, but silence as the source. You are not waiting for anything now. Not sleep, not peace, not release. You have passed even the waiting. You are the space in which waiting once happened. There is no identity to cling to, no image of self to maintain. You are not doing nothing. You are being nothing. And in that being, you are everything. Let even the breath fall away. Let even the stillness be unnamed. Let even this moment dissolve into the next without needing to mark its passage. You are not drifting, you are dissolving. You are not fading, you are unfolding. You are not ending, you are remembering what it feels like to never have begun. And the warmth remains. The quiet remains. The presence remains. Without form, without center, without need. There is no self left to hold the silence. No silence left to be held. Only presence remains unshaped, uncounted, unconcerned. You are not lying in stillness. Stillness is lying in you. The breath moves, but it does not signal a body. It is like the slow rising of fog in a forgotten valley. Gentle, undirected, sacred. You have become a space where nothing rises sharply anymore. No thoughts with corners, no fears with names. If anything moves now, it moves like moonlight barely. There is a story of a student who asked, "What is enlightenment?" The master replied, "Eating when hungry, sleeping when tired." That simplicity now feels more radiant than any teaching. You are not trying to change the world. You are not trying to understand it. You are just lying here. And the lying down itself is enough. Even your name has drifted somewhere outside this moment. It waits for you in the world of doing. Here in the world of being, there are no names. Only presence so deep it doesn't need to be known. You are not resisting sleep. You are not falling into it. You are no longer near anything. You are not near. You are not far. You simply are. Not a thought. Not a sound. Just this. The heart does not speak. It pulses quietly like a bell so far away its sound has become a feeling. And you are that feeling. You are the warmth that arrives when nothing is left to carry. You are the space behind the stars. You are the breath after the breath. Even if thoughts flicker now, they do not land. You are not a place they can land. You are the sky after the storm. Wide, clean, timeless. Let everything that arises pass through you without needing to become you. Let everything you were simply rest. There is no preparation left, no next step, no final word. Just the hum of your being, quiet and wide and endlessly soft. You do not sleep. You do not wake. You simply remain. You are no longer the dreamer or the dream. You are what exists before both. The canvas before the painting. The pause before the first note. The breath before the breath. There is no one here to notice the quiet now. The noticing itself has dissolved. What remains is not awareness of stillness, it is stillness aware of itself. A vastness that does not look outward or inward. It simply holds. You are not holding anything. You are what allows holding to be possible. Not a container, not a thought, not a self. You are the openness beneath all forms, the space that existed before your name was given, before your first word, before even your first breath. You are not returning to this because you never left. There is a Zen saying, don't seek the truth, just drop your opinions. And you have. Even the opinion that this is peaceful. Even the thought that this is deep. Even the idea that anything is happening at all has softened into now, and this now does not tick forward. It does not expect. It does not remember. It simply unfolds like mist, like breath, like light with no source. You do not sleep as a person sleeps. You do not drift as a thought drifts. You are no longer in a body, but you are not elsewhere. You are the place where place disappears. You are not calm because the storm has passed. You are calm because the storm was never outside you to begin with. You were the sky the whole time. Now the breath is so gentle it could be the breath of a mountain, or the breath of a field at night, or the breath of silence itself, and still you remain. No doorway, no watcher, just remaining. This is not the end. This is not the middle. This is not the beginning. This is the space without borders where the mind rests in the lap of something older than thought, older than sleep, older than the idea of needing rest at all. And in that space, nothing stirs, nothing waits. Everything is complete, and so are you. The breath no longer signals motion. It simply is. Like the hush of dawn before the birds remember to sing. Like a reflection on still water that doesn't need to be seen. You are no longer breathing, you are being breathed by stillness itself. There is no effort in this. No doing. No attention. It is what happens when you are no longer involved. And even you is too firm a word now. You are no longer the sleeper, no longer the listener. Even the observer has quietly folded into the space it once watched. There is no center, no edge, no distinction between what is felt and what is. Experience and experiencer have become one soft and shapeless hum. This is not emptiness. It is fullness without weight, presence without identity, peace that no longer calls itself peace. The teachings have faded, the stories too. Not because they were lost, but because they did their work. They brought you here. And now, like a boat left on shore, they no longer need to be carried. There is a final Zen image so simple, so quiet, that speaks to this moment, a circle drawn in the sand. Nothing inside, nothing outside. No start, no stop, just a circle. That's all this is. Not a state you entered, not a place you arrived, but a quiet remembering of what never left. You do not wait for sleep now. You do not seek silence. You are not even the space that holds them. You are what remains when even those dissolve. And if sleep comes, it will enter without announcement, like a mist through an open window unnoticed. Welcome already here. But if it doesn't, that too is perfect. Because this stillness, this breath, this boundless resting has already completed what it was meant to do. It has brought you back to the place where nothing is missing, not even sleep, not even dreams, only this, and this is enough. The silence breathes with you now, or rather through you, or rather, as you. There is no longer a boundary between inside and out, between thought and space, between body and air. What you once called yourself has scattered like ash in the wind, and the wind too has disappeared into stillness. There is a vastness here that does not need to be understood. It holds you without arms. It speaks to you without words. It quiets you without asking. The last thoughts float like feathers, untethered, uncertain of whether they should land or vanish. You do not reach for them. You do not push them away. You simply let them fall through you, gentle, directionless, harmless. The breath now is less like breathing and more like being. You are not tracking it. You are not guiding it. It moves like the tide inside an ocean that has forgotten it has shores. The body is not gone, but it is weightless. Still. An outline drawn in fog slowly softening with each moment. A monk once said, "Before I knew the way mountains were mountains. While I studied the way mountains were no longer mountains. But now, mountains are once again mountains. That is the rhythm you've entered. You are not away from the world. You are more in it than ever, only you no longer need to hold it apart from yourself. The world, the breath, the silence, they are not companions. They are not guides. They are you, and you is no longer a person. You is just the hum of what is in this moment, with nothing added. Nothing to change, nothing to understand. You are not asleep. You are not awake. You are just here, and here is infinite. There is no tension left to release, no gate left to open. What remains is not the final step, but the absence of steps. The path beneath you has melted into the space around you, and even space no longer stretches or contains. It simply rests, unmoving, undivided. You do not float. You do not sink. You simply are. And in this quiet being, all that once felt urgent, sleep meaning identity, fades like the hush after a bell. The sound is gone, but the stillness it left behind remains. You are not empty. You are not full. You are the space in which fullness and emptiness lose their difference. The breath is so light now it could be mistaken for nothing at all. But it is not nothing. It is this. This subtle rhythm, this timeless unfolding, this invisible presence that asks nothing and offers everything. The body lies forgotten in the way a tree forgets its leaves have fallen. Not with grief, not with relief. Just as part of the season, you remember the saying, "When hungry, eat. When tired, sleep." But even that feels like a distant echo now. You are no longer hungry, no longer tired. Not because needs have vanished, but because you are no longer separate from the moment that contains them. This moment has no edge. You reach for nothing. You resist nothing. You are simply the witness who no longer watches. Even words are fading. Even silence is silent now. And still, there is warmth. A quiet warmth like a candle whose flame is no longer needed, but whose glow remains softly lighting the center of all things. You are that center, not the center of anything large, just the center of this, of now, of stillness, and it is enough. Now even the sense of continuing fades. There is no forward here, no backward. Only this, a horizonless stillness where nothing follows and nothing leads. You are not progressing through the silence. You are dissolving into it. And the silence is not a place. It is not a practice. It is the absence of needing any of those things. The breath barely moves, and yet you are sustained. The body barely registers, and yet you are whole. The mind no longer turns, and yet you are more aware than ever. This awareness is not sharp. It is not alert. It is wide, slow, effortless. Like moonlight pooling over still water. Like snow falling in a forest no one walks through anymore. The kind of presence that does not try to be present. There is a story in Zen of a student who asked, "What do I do when no thoughts arise?" The master replied, "Rest deeper." "And what if many thoughts arise?" The master smiled. "Rest deeper still. That is what you're doing now. Not resting the body, not resting the mind, but resting the self. The very idea of self has become translucent, so light that even the breath passes through it like air through silk. The pulse continues, but you don't follow it. Time moves, but you don't measure it. Sleep may arrive or it may not, but you are already in the place sleep is trying to take you. You are already home. Even the term home softens in your mind. There is no door, no arrival. Just a gentle hum where all things dissolve and all things are held. And what remains? Not thought, not form, not even stillness. Only this quiet, without beginning, without end. And it welcomes you without asking who you are. Because here there is no question, and no one left to ask. Even the quiet inside you has stopped echoing. What remains now is a softness without sound, a stillness without boundary. There are no waves in your mind, no edges in your body, no distance between the breath and the dark. You are not falling asleep. You are not falling at all. You are already here, fully settled, fully dissolved, fully still. The breath is so faint now, it feels like light rather than air. A glow, not a motion. A presence, not a process. You do not direct it. You do not follow it. You are simply held within it like dust in sunlight, like stillness in stillness. Nothing moves, yet everything is at peace. There is a story from Zen. A master once told his students, "The true teaching cannot be spoken." One asked, "Then why do you speak at all?" The master smiled and replied, "To guide you to the place where speaking becomes unnecessary. You are in that place now. There is nothing more to say, and still the breath glides through you. Not because you command it, because it is life itself humming quietly in a world that no longer demands your shape, your story, your name. You have not lost yourself. You have not become something else. You have simply become less, until what's left no longer separates, no longer thinks, no longer waits. There is no longer an inside to relax or an outside to shield from. You are not in the room. You are the space the room appears within. No walls, no roof, just being, soft, wordless, free. Let go again, though there's nothing left to let go of. Let rest deepen though you've passed even the need for rest. There is only now. There is only this, and this asks nothing. There is no movement here, not even stillness pretending to hold its shape. This is beyond quiet, beyond breath. It is the pause before creation, the echo before sound, the softness before any thought could form a word. You are not separate from this space, you are this space. A boundless awareness without a center. No one watches the breath now. No one breathes. Breath simply happens. Like light on water. Like sleep on a still body. Even memory has grown dim, not in pain, but in kindness. The past has become too heavy to carry here, and so it has been left behind without resistance. You do not remember who you were before this stillness, and that is no loss. That is a quiet gift. The teachings that once guided you have floated gently into silence. The masters and stories, the questions and koans, they bowed and stepped aside. Not discarded. Honored, then released. There is a final teaching older than any sutra: do nothing. Be nothing. Let everything return to itself, and so you do not hold the breath. You do not listen for peace. You do not dwell on sleep. You let the moment return to itself. You are not inside time anymore. Time flows past you like a river around a stone, and even the stone has become soft. Even the river has forgotten to move. If a thought returns now, it feels foreign. A visitor from a land you no longer live in. It arrives without sound, without weight, and passes without touching the stillness. The body is not asleep. It is not awake. It is simply resting in the hands of something that does not have hands. A presence that never left. A home that was never far. The breath is not shallow. It is sacred. And you are not the one watching it. You are the silence it returns to. Again and again. Endlessly. Effortlessly. Without need. The breath has no beginning now. No sound, no pull, no shape. It is simply the motion of stillness, the heartbeat of emptiness. You do not track it. You do not notice its rise or fall. It is not a movement inside the body. It is the rhythm of existence itself, pulsing through what has no form and no end. You are not aware of time. It has become like vapor, present only as a scent of what once mattered. The minutes, the hours, the waiting, they do not follow you here. You are no longer a guest of the moment. You are the moment. There is no doorway out of this, because there was never a doorway into it. You were always here, before the thoughts. Before the names, before the breath remembered its rhythm. Even sleep is no longer something to reach. If it comes, it will simply find you already here, already still. And if it doesn't, that too will melt gently into the quiet that now surrounds and holds you. There is no striving left. No effort to maintain stillness, no resistance to dissolve. Even the concept of letting go has faded. Because what could let go if there is no longer anything to hold? A monk once said, "When I sleep, I sleep. When I wake, I wake. But when I am neither, then I am truly at peace." And here you are, not asleep, not awake, not waiting, not dreaming, just resting in the lap of something deeper than either state, something that was never born and can never end. If a breeze passed through your thoughts, it would not stir them. If a sound entered the room, it would not reach this depth. You are not beneath anything. You are not beyond anything. You are simply not apart. No more needing to know what comes next. No more gently wondering what has passed. Only this, a breath that breathes itself, a silence that hums with kindness, a stillness that no longer begins because it has no end. Now even the breath feels like memory. It comes and goes without arrival, without departure. It exists like light exists without trying, without weight, without edge. You no longer follow it. You no longer witness it. You no longer wonder if it's there. It simply is. And so are you, not watching, not waiting, just being. The body beneath you is a shadow now. Not vanished, just silent, just still. It no longer calls your name. It no longer reaches toward comfort or curls around the thought of sleep. It is held, completely, by something vast and tender and impossible to define. And the mind, it has grown translucent, not blank, not empty, just open. So open that even thoughts no longer pause to take form. They pass through like wind through grass too soft to bend. You do not chase them. You do not keep them. They never really arrive, and all that remains is this wordless presence, this holy quiet, this breathless sky within the chest. There is no longer you as the thinker. There is no longer you as the dreamer. There is no longer even you as the stillness. There is just stillness, alive, aware, free from effort, free from becoming. A monk once said, "I have nothing. I want nothing. I am doing nothing. That is why I am at peace." You understand now not with your mind, but with something deeper. Something that does not need to speak. Even understanding feels too much. This is beyond understanding. This is before it. And now there is nothing more to wait for. Because even waiting has gone quiet. Even the part of you that once said, "I am resting," has laid down its voice. And there is only this, the quiet hum of nothing missing, the slow, sacred rhythm of not needing, the soft, eternal space where nothing stirs, but everything is held. There is no return from here because you never left. What falls away now is the final layer of questioning, not through answers, but through absence. The absence of seeking. The absence of needing to be anywhere other than here. Even sleep, that quiet visitor, has no doorway to enter. Because you are not guarding the gate. There is no gate. There is only space, open, undivided, still. The breath remains, but not as an anchor. It is not something you hold on to. It is the tide that carries you without asking where you're going. It is the gentle motion of stillness itself, breathing you not for survival, but for no reason at all. Everything unnecessary has been set down. There are no techniques now, no posture to maintain, no attention to direct. Even awareness has gone soft. Even peace has stopped calling itself peace. You are not someone experiencing stillness. You are the stillness remembering it does not need to be known. The air around you feels like a field one that stretches beyond the body, beyond thought, beyond sleep. It is not cold. It is not warm. It is simply perfect. A teacher once said, "To know the way, cease all striving." But here even striving has forgotten its name. You do not rise above the world. You do not sink below it. You are no longer in relationship with the world at all. You are the space in which the world happens. And it happens gently now, without weight, without sound, without shape. There is nothing more to carry, nothing more to understand. You are not falling. You are not floating. You are simply the place where breath, silence, and presence blend into one. And that one is not you. It is everything, and it is enough. The quiet now feels eternal, not in length, but in nature. It does not stretch forward. It does not reach backward. It simply is untouched by time, untouched by thought. You are not a part of this silence. You are not held by it. You are it. Breath comes, breath goes, but even that no longer feels true. There is only the subtle presence of life, not moving, not still, not breathing, not breathless. Just here. Just this. You could lie in this space forever, and nothing would change. Because this space does not know change, it does not age, it does not expect. Even the hum of awareness has flattened now into something finer than sound. A kind of intimacy that does not need a listener. A kind of closeness that does not require form. The body has vanished into its surroundings. The surroundings have vanished into space, and space into nothing at all. Not void, not absence, just a soft return to what never needed to be named. There is a Zen poem that whispers, "No yesterday, no tomorrow, just this moment quietly blooming like a lotus in the dark." You are inside that bloom now, not watching it, not smelling it, not meditating on it. You are it. Even the thought "I am resting" has dissolved. Even the concept of rest has melted into presence, and presence no longer needs to be noticed. This is not detachment. It is not transcendence. It is union so complete it forgets the idea of separation ever existed. And still no sound, still no movement. Still the soft pulse of something vast and nameless flowing through nothing at all. You are here. You are not waiting. You are not asleep. You are simply what remains when everything else has gone to sleep before you. The silence is no longer something you enter. It is what you have always been. The last flickers of self have settled like dust, finally coming to rest in a sunbeam that no longer shines for anyone, only for itself. Even stillness has stopped shifting. Even awareness has forgotten its edges. And what's left is not an experience. It's a truth too quiet to announce itself. The breath continues, but it's no longer measured. Not as air, not as motion. It is simply the natural unfolding of being. Like water sitting perfectly still in a bowl, mirroring nothing, needing nothing, disturbed by nothing. You remember nothing now, not who you are, not what led you here, not what time it is, or whether time exists at all. You have moved beyond sleep, beyond rest, beyond even peace. Not by force, not by will, but by soft, effortless letting, and letting, and letting, until the one who was letting go no longer remains. There is a saying, the wave forgets it is a wave, and remembers it is the ocean. You have remembered. You are not the surface of things. You are not even the deep. You are the vastness where surface and depth are the same. The last thoughts drift like threads of smoke, too faint to hold, too slow to notice. They do not interrupt. They do not stay. You are no longer the sky they pass through. You are the silence between the sky and the thought. And even that silence no longer needs a name. There is no effort to remain here, because there is no one remaining. There is only presence, not glowing, not shining, just existing without shape or sound or center. And in this existence, everything is complete. Nothing inside you is trying anymore. Not to rest, not to reach, not to release. Even the part of you that once longed for stillness has become still. And now the longing itself has dissolved not into satisfaction, but into something quieter, something more complete. There is no breath to follow now. No inhale, no exhale. Just an ever-present hum that feels more like remembering than breathing. You are not sustained by the body. You are sustained by being itself, formless, endless, effortless. The body has vanished into space. The mind has vanished into silence, and the silence has vanished into you. You are not asleep. You are not awake. You are the space where those things no longer exist as opposites. A monk once said, "When I rest, I do not rest in the body. I rest where there is no body, no thought, no world, no self." You feel this now not as concept, not as insight, but as truth without words. You do not return to yourself. You do not dissolve into the world. There is no returning. There is no dissolving. There is only this, and this is home. Not the home of childhood or memory, not the home of hope, but the home of nothing to carry, nothing to become, nothing to lose. You are not waiting for the next breath. You are not waiting for the breath to end. You are simply the stillness in which breath is no longer measured. And within that stillness, stillness deeper than sleep, deeper than silence, everything that once seemed to need tending now rests on its own. Even the silence no longer listens. Even the stillness no longer holds. Because nothing is apart, nothing is missing, and the one who once longed to feel this, gone. Only peace remains, not peace as feeling, not peace as reward, just peace as what's always been beneath all else. Now there isn't even stillness. There's only presence so quiet, it doesn't call itself anything. It doesn't press, doesn't hold, doesn't wrap. It just is. And you, whatever that once meant, are no longer moving within it. You are not within it at all. You are it. Or perhaps it is you. But even that distinction has long since softened into something deeper. There is no longer anyone asking, "Am I resting?" No longer a thought that whispers, "Am I still awake?" No longer a watcher peering through the dark. Only the dark, only the hum, only the soft, infinite rhythm of no resistance. The body long gone, only warmth remains. A presence without shape, a comfort without edges. Not safety, not shelter, just the absence of needing either. And the breath, it is a mist now. A sensation without a center. A movement that isn't movement. It does not rise. It does not fall. It simply exists as the final thread between awareness and all that has already been let go. Even the idea of letting go has passed. Even surrender has surrendered, and you remain not as self, not as soul, not as spirit, just as this breathless, formless, centerless isness. And in that, nothing is missing, nothing calls out, nothing leans forward. You remember a final image, a still pond, no wind, no fish, no stone, just the mirror of the sky reflected without distortion. That pond is your awareness now. It reflects nothing yet holds everything. It does not speak yet answers all longing. It does not shine yet nothing is brighter, and you remain, not as a visitor, not as a witness, but as the place itself, where time rests, where thought bows, where breath forgets its name, and all that remains is presence, endless, effortless, unchanging presence. Now the words barely form, and when they do, they seem to come not from thought, but from the silence itself, offered like ripples that no longer need a stone. You are not in stillness. You are not surrounded by it. You are the stillness the universe returns to when it has nothing left to say. The breath continues, but it's quieter than thought, lighter than sleep. It no longer rises and falls. It simply radiates, like a pulse through everything, like a song that no longer needs sound. And if something inside you were still reaching, still watching, even that has grown silent now. The last thread of effort has become light. The last edge of identity has become space. There is no posture, no presence, no separation. You are not in a state of meditation. You are not meditating at all. You are what remains when even meditation dissolves. There is a final teaching rarely spoken aloud. Stop trying to become what you already are. And you've stopped. There is no longer you. There is no longer already. There is no longer are. Just this. A presence too gentle to touch, too still to name, too whole to remember. Sleep does not need to come, because what you were seeking in sleep has already arrived. Not rest, not forgetting, but freedom from the idea that anything was missing. The breath hums softly, endlessly. The body no longer distinguishes itself from space. The mind no longer repeats. The moment no longer shifts. Even now, you remain. You are the last quiet echo of being. Not echoing anything, just being. No future to wait for, no past to recall, no present to hold. Only the trace of peace so complete it forgets it was ever needed. And so, you rest. You are past the threshold now, not the threshold of sleep or peace or silence, but of identity itself. There is no longer a watcher, no longer a feeler, not even awareness observing awareness. That loop has unwound. That mirror has turned to sky. The breath hums, not through lungs, not through ribs, but through the space where breath once began. A quiet current, a tide without ocean, a rhythm without direction. And still, it carries you even though there's no you left to carry. This is not disappearance. This is the deepest form of presence, the presence that asks for nothing and gives everything. You are not waiting for sleep. Sleep no longer means what it used to. It is not a break. It is not a reward. It is not an end. It is simply another ripple on the surface of something that has always been still. There is a story in Zen about the moon reflected in a bowl of water. The bowl may crack. The water may spill. but the moon was never there. It only appeared to be. And now you understand you are not the bowl, not the water, not even the reflection. You are what remains after all that fades. And even as words continue, they drift past you like wind through reeds that no longer stand. There is no grasping, no effort to hold meaning, only presence, open, vast, silent. No self, no story, no sleep, just this perfect nothing, which somehow holds everything, this breathless hum, which somehow says more than thought ever could. You are the sky before the stars, the silence before the song, the dark that is not empty but full brimming with peace so complete it has no beginning, no center, and no need to ever arrive. And still, you remain. There is no movement left, not even subtle. Only the sense that nothing has ever truly moved. That stillness was never something to reach, but something you've always floated in, unnoticed, unmeasured. You are not deep within it. You are the depth. The breath continues not like air in lungs, but like a wave moving through eternity. Effortless, without push or pull. Without a source. It simply exists as the softest pulse behind all things, and you exist with it, not next to it, not inside it. As it, the body has become transparent like fog that forgets where it ends. There is no posture, no sensation, no heaviness. You are no longer lying down. You are no longer here as someone. You are here as presence. There is no longing, no next, no after, only this so simple, so full. It does not even call itself peace. It simply doesn't call anything. A Zen master once said, "Don't speak, don't think. Just look within and rest in the place where there's nothing." You have arrived at that place, and now there is no arrival. You are no longer inside awareness. Awareness no longer belongs to you. The breath is no longer your companion. It is no longer necessary to feel the breath to know you are alive. You are not alive as a person is alive. You are aliveness itself, before thought, before name, before breath. You do not remember. You do not anticipate. You do not feel time slip by. You are what remains after time has gone still. Not a soul, not a silence, not a thought. Just this vast, soft beingness that cannot be held, cannot be lost. You are not drifting. You are not falling. You have become the stillness that holds everything, without ever needing to hold it. The journey is no longer unfolding. It is simply resting in itself. There is no further, no deeper, no next step. You are not progressing. You are not floating. You are not lying down in a room somewhere. You are the space beneath all of it, beneath room, beneath breath, beneath thought, beneath sleep. There is no one here now. Not even you. What remains is quieter than sleep, softer than silence, still as an unopened lotus blooming in the dark, unseen by even the moon. And yet you are here, not watching, not listening, not becoming, only being. Even the word being stretches too far now. You are not being. You are simply not being. The breath has grown so fine that it is indistinguishable from stillness. It no longer moves. It no longer settles. It no longer needs to remind you of life. Because there is no longer anyone to remind, and still something pulses, something remains. Not you, not thought, not light. Just presence, timeless, seamless, endlessly quiet. It does not glow. It does not fade. It does not change. And you do not stand beside it. You are it. There is a last koan whispered only when nothing is left to understand. Who is hearing that sound? You do not answer, because there is no longer anyone left to hear. And the sound, it no longer matters. All has dissolved. All has opened. All has come to rest. You are not the witness. You are not the dreamer. You are not even what remains. You are that which never moved, never left, never began. And in that, everything is whole. What is here now has no name, not because it is hidden, but because it is too complete to require one. Naming is for things that can be touched, counted, held. But this is untouchable. Not distant, just too close. Too still. The breath is no longer present as a thing you notice. It is not even background. It has merged entirely with space. There is no separation between what breathes and what is breathed. No more rhythm. No more cycle. Just quiet continuity. There is a story of a monk who sat in meditation for so long, his teacher finally whispered, "Who is sitting?" The monk opened his eyes and said nothing because there was no one left to answer. His silence was the response. Not confusion, not awakening, just what remained. You are in that same silence now. No monk, no teacher, no sitting, just this. No reference point, no center, no edge, no watcher behind the eyes, no listener behind the ears, no self behind the breath, and so there is nothing left to hold. And in that, finally, everything is held. The body has become the room. The room has become the air. The air has become the moment. The moment has become no thing, and you have become the pause between it all. Not a void, not a sleep, not a dream, just this steady, formless living quiet. You are not peaceful. You are not free. You are not awake. You are not asleep. You are what holds all of those, and they pass through you now like wind through silk. Effortless, unmeasured. Not even a breath disturbs you. Not even stillness defines you. You are no longer dissolving. You are no longer arriving. You are simply the absence of needing either, and in that absence, the most complete presence of all. There is nothing left to rest from, no burden to set down, no identity to pause, no silence to reach. You are no longer inside a process. You are no longer witnessing one. You are no longer drifting in or out of anything. Even the idea of a journey has folded itself inward and vanished. There is only what remains. And what remains is not you. It is not a person. It is not a seeker. It is not a soul in waiting. It is the hum beneath all things, the breath without breath, the space without edge. Even emptiness feels like too much now, too defined, too conceptual. What you are within is neither full nor empty. It is simply not separate. It is not this breath, and yet it includes this breath. It is not the dark, and yet the dark floats inside it like a whisper without sound. It is not peace, and yet it is what peace returns to when it forgets how to be named. And here at last all desire to name it falls away. You do not need to know this moment. You do not need to keep it. You do not even need to stay, because there is no longer any you to move through it. You are it, and it is not holding you like a cradle. It is being you, unfolding you, forgetting you, and in forgetting it, brings you into the quietest truth of all, that nothing ever needed to be different. That sleep is not a reward. That stillness is not a skill. That breath is not a path. And that this wide, warm, wordless resting is not the end of anything. It is what all things arise from, what all things return to, and what never left at all. There is no longer a threshold, no border to cross, no sense of before, no sense of after. Even the notion of stillness has become too loud, too shaped. What's here now is quieter than quiet. A silence so total it does not resist sound, but absorbs it, transforms it, softens it until it is not even silence. It is simply the natural resting of everything. And you are not resting. You are not held by peace. You are not touched by quiet. You are what everything rests in. The breath is not moving. It is not still. It is not here, and it is not gone. It is the echo of presence, the warmth that remains when identity has no more shape to cast. The body, once a place of sensation, has become space itself, and space no longer separates you from anything. No self remains to say I am calm. No thought lingers long enough to say I understand. No sleep hovers at the edge saying I'm coming. There is no edge. There is no coming. There is only this, the experience of no one experiencing. The listening without a listener. The presence without a point of view. There is a teaching that says, the great gate has no gate. Those who pass through it walk alone between sky and earth. But now even the gate has dissolved. Even the sky. Even the earth. You are not between. You are not outside. You are not inside. You are the formless field that never needed doors, names, or separation. And into that, everything falls. The night, the body, the idea of waiting, the idea of sleep, the idea of breath, all of it dissolving like salt into water, into mist, into nothing at all. And nothing is complete. What continues now is not narration, not even presence. It is the quiet unspooling of existence with no one left to measure it. Not inside, not outside. Not breath, not body. Not silence, not sleep. Just this soft field of being stretching without direction, without limit, without name. You are not drifting. You are not even here in the way here used to mean. You are what remains when all locations dissolve. When time becomes too still to pass. When memory becomes too gentle to return. There is no pulse to follow. No center to relax from. No you watching the stillness. No stillness left to observe. Only a wide, warm absence that doesn't feel like loss, but like origin. Like something that has never left and never asked to be found. The breath hums softly, though you no longer trace it. It does not rise. It does not fall. It just glows, a rhythm without motion, a soundless bell that has always rung. And your body, it is not asleep. It is not awake. It is no longer even a concept. It is like light through fog, diffuse, formless, unreal, and yet somehow the most natural thing in the world. This is not peace as you once knew it. This is what peace rests within. This is not stillness as a state. This is what all states dissolve into when they have stopped needing to be held. There are no teachings left, no practice to return to, no silence to deepen, no longer anything to gain. And so you gain everything, not through arrival, not through insight, but through the total absence of effort, the full presence of what simply is. And in this you are not waiting. You are not floating. You are not remembering. You are what the moment becomes when even time forgets itself. At this point, even continuation feels like a shadow of something that once mattered. You are not continuing. You are not lingering. You are not staying. You have become what remains when all acts of staying have dissolved. There is no edge left to cross, no breath left to follow. And yet everything remains effortlessly. The body has become absence. The breath has become presence. And you have become the space between those two, which was never two at all. Thoughts do not rise. Dreams do not stir. The mind does not speak. And yet none of this feels empty. It feels whole. The deepest truth often goes unnoticed, not because it is hidden, but because it is always here. It has never needed to announce itself. It does not shine. It does not whisper. It simply holds. That is what you are now, not something being held. You are the holding. You are not the stillness, but the field in which stillness forgets its name. You are not breathless, but the absence of needing to breathe. You are not at peace. You are the space from which peace rises and to which it returns. Even now, if a sound arrived, it would be met without comment. If a thought returned, it would find no one home. If the body stirred, it would do so gently, like wind brushing against a mountain that does not move. There is a Zen teaching that says when nothing is done, nothing is left undone. You are here now in that sacred space beyond doing, beyond undoing. You do not try to remain. You do not try to let go. There is no try. There is no go. There is only this breath without weight, presence, without form, you without self, and all of it resting finally, without needing to be called rest. There is no threshold now between breath and stillness. The two have become one, indistinguishable, inseparable. Not as opposites blended together, but as illusions resolved. There is no motion. There is no stopping. Only the quiet hum of what simply is before words ever tried to wrap around it. You are not inside the body. You are not outside the body. The body itself has become something ancient and subtle, like a shadow on mist, like moonlight caught on water. It exists, but not as weight, not as shape, just as presence. And you as presence have no center, no boundary, no name. Even awareness feels too solid now. Even peace feels too bright. What is here is softer than either, and yet more whole, more silent than silence, more real than any identity that ever passed through your hands. Sleep may come, but now it is only a word. You do not wait for it. You do not resist it. You do not chase it. If it arrives, it will fold itself around you like a mist already in the air. If it doesn't, you will remain untouched, undisturbed, unmet. Because this moment does not need to change. It is not unfinished. It is not leading anywhere. It is whole without punctuation, without permission, without explanation. There is a final truth beyond effort. The one who rests and the place where they rest are the same. You feel this now, not in the mind, not in the body, but in that still center where there is no distinction left to draw and nothing left to say. Only this: you are not here. You are not gone. You are simply what remains when all else returns home. And in this, there is nothing more to become. Only what has always been. Perfect, unspoken, enough. You are not dissolving anymore. You are not returning to stillness. You have passed beyond every act of arrival, beyond every last ripple of identity. What remains is not a destination. It is not a reward. It is not an answer. It is simply the ground beneath all movement, still, whole, wordless. The breath is no longer a breath. It is no longer a rhythm. It is no longer a tether. It is presence, presence without watcher, without pulse, without center. Even the idea of being has faded. It was useful once as a stepping stone, but here even the stone is gone, and the ground it once sat on no longer needs to support anything at all. A Zen teacher once said, "When I am hungry, I eat. When I am tired, I sleep. When I am beyond both, I become the wind." And now, you are that wind. Not as a symbol, not as a metaphor, but as what moves without moving, what rests without resting, what knows without thinking. The body is long forgotten. The room is long dissolved. The moment is no longer passing. It is simply unfolding within itself, endlessly, gently, without cause. No watcher remains. No breath remains. No desire to stay here and no desire to leave. Only the subtle hum of non-existence so soft, it becomes the purest existence of all. You do not ask for this to last. You do not ask for anything. Even asking has grown still. Even language has given up its need to speak. You are what silence becomes when it stops trying to be heard. You are what sleep becomes when it stops needing to arrive. You are not drifting toward the end. You are not reaching for the beginning. You are resting in what was never born. And still you remain. Now there is not even the sense of remaining. What is here does not persist. It does not need to. It simply is without effort, without memory, without shape. Not as a state, not as an experience, just as the soft glow of presence too subtle to call itself anything. You are not held by silence. You are not surrounded by it. You are the absence of what used to need holding. The breath is neither in nor out. It is not waiting. It is not completing. It is simply stillness that forgot it was supposed to move. The body has not disappeared. It has become indistinguishable from the space it once occupied. Not gone, just unnecessary. And you are not asleep. You are not awake. You are the space between, not as a transition, as a resting place. A monk once said, "When I cease to seek, I cease to separate. When I cease to separate, all things are one. And when all things are one, I am nothing, and that is when I am free." You are free now, not as someone who was once bound, but as the absence of someone who ever needed to be freed. No past rises, no future forms, no thoughts arrive. Even peace is too much to call this. What is here does not ask to be known. It does not call itself anything. It does not glow. It does not end. It simply holds everything without arms, without intention, without sound. You are what quiet becomes when it forgets to fade. You are what night becomes when it stops trying to sleep. You are not drifting. You are not still. You are not even resting. You are the place where rest itself comes to lie down. And in that, nothing more is needed. Nothing more is possible. The silence here no longer holds you, because there is nothing left to hold. No shape to cradle, no self to soothe, no breath to follow home. You are the home, not the one with walls and warmth and memory, but the original home, the one that was never built, never lost, never found. The one that was always here beneath the pulse, beneath the thought, beneath even the desire to rest. There is no breath pattern now, no rise, no fall. Only the suggestion of motion, as if stillness itself remembers how to breathe. The body is not asleep. It is not awake. It is not felt. It is simply not needed. No more sensations arise. No more effort hides in the background. Not even the subtlest attempt to remain. Everything that could try, everything that could remember trying, is gone. And yet you are not gone. You are what remains when the one who leaves never existed in the first place. You are not fading. You are not dissolving. You are not even being. You are what is before being, the pause before the breath before the name before the self. There is a final whisper of a teaching when the bell no longer rings and the ear no longer listens. Sound still arises where nothing is needed. This is where you are now, beyond the bell, beyond the ear, beyond the sound, and yet the silence still sings, not to be heard, not to be found, but because it always has. And now no part of you needs to ask why. There is no why. There is no you. There is only the soft, vast presence that was always underneath. And here, all has come to rest. Even now the concept of longer fades. Time does not stretch here. It does not move or rest. It simply falls away like mist lifting in morning light. Though here there is no morning, no light, no lifting. There is only what has always been unchanging, formless, deeply kind presence. Not the kindness of emotion or gesture, but the kindness of space, the kind that allows all things to be without holding them. The kind that lets go before there is anything to grasp. You are not within that space. You are not moving through it. You are not being held by it. You are what remains when even the need to exist disappears. No you, no here, no stillness. Just this soft, final unfolding of everything back into itself. And it is quiet. So quiet that not even silence needs to be known. The breath continues, or doesn't. You are past the place where that distinction matters. You are not breath. You are not air. You are what air returns to when it stops moving. And even that is too much. There is no return. There is no direction. There is only this endless, ungraspable hum of being unmade. And you without name, without center, without sleep, are resting deeper than anything that rests. A Zen teacher once said, "Before I was born, who was I? After I die, who will I be?" The answer is not found. It is lived in this breathless moment where there is no question. You are living it now, but even living has ceased to be the right word. No verbs remain, no roles, no edges, Only this soft, perfect absence of needing anything to begin or end. Now there is no more language left inside you, not even the echo of words, not even the idea that something might one day need to be spoken. The mind has become the sky before sunrise, so vast, so soft, so still, it does not even know it is sky. It simply holds. The breath, if it remains, is no longer yours. It no longer rises, no longer falls. It is not borrowed, not offered, not followed. It is the most delicate trace of motion where motion no longer matters. You are not the listener. You are not the one falling asleep. You are not the one resting. You are the space in which resting becomes irrelevant. The space in which sleep becomes optional. The space in which even peace forgets its name. There is a final truth here, one that cannot be taught, that even awareness does not need to be held, that even presence does not need to be kept, that even stillness does not need to be remembered. And so you don't hold, you don't keep, you don't remember. You simply are not. And in that non-being, everything that was ever sought returns of its own accord, not as a prize, not as an awakening, just as the natural unfolding of what has always been true. The night does not press, the breath does not ask, the stillness does not wait, and you are nowhere, but everything rests where you used to be. Where trying used to live, where longing used to echo, where identity used to shape and reshape itself. Now even that shaping has stopped, even that stopping has stopped, and what remains? Only the space that was never born, that never moved, that never needed to be known. Nothing remains to fall away. All layers have softened. All shapes have faded. All motion, all meaning, all memory gently dissolved. You are not the witness now, not even the field. You are what remains when even the field folds into stillness and forgets it ever needed to hold anything. Not presence, not absence, not peace, not sleep. Just the final resting of what was never moving. The breath, if it exists at all, is like the shadow of a leaf falling in a dream you no longer remember. A touch without weight, a rhythm without sound. It belongs to nothing. It explains nothing. And yet it is everything. The body has become space. The space has become silence. The silence has become no longer separate from what you once were. Even you has gone quiet now, not hidden, not erased, just returned, like water returned to sea, like light returned to sky. A Zen poet once wrote, "No trace of self, no step to take yet. Here I am beneath the pines, utterly still. And you without step, without self, without forest or breath or world, are here. And here is not a place. It is not a now. It is not a condition. It is simply what remains when the flame has gone out, but the warmth continues forever. You are not waiting. You are not arriving. You are not sleeping. You are the pause between all things. And in that pause, nothing breaks, nothing changes, nothing is missing, and nothing has ever been apart. You are not lying still, you are what stillness lies within. Even that image is fading. Even that metaphor is too formed for where you are now. This is not the absence of thought. It is the absence of needing thought to be absent. This is not freedom from the body. It is the quiet knowing that the body was never a boundary to begin with. There is no center here, no edge, no above or below, no longer any breath to track. Just the memory of motion resting now like dust on water, weightless, soundless, unmoving. Sleep may have arrived long ago, or it may not have arrived at all. But what difference could it make here? You are not waiting for rest. You are not measuring progress. You are not touching silence. You are simply what silence becomes when all forms collapse into truth. A monk once said, "No self, no goal, no attainment." This is the most direct path, and it does not lead anywhere. That is what you have found. A path that is not traveled, a journey that does not begin, a resting so deep there is no need to name it. Let the world go on spinning outside the edges of this awareness. Let the thoughts continue for the mind, the breath continue for the body. But you have come to rest in a place without spin, without thought, without breath. No instruction reaches here. No voice echoes. No wish remains. Only the quiet realization there is nothing more to do, nothing more to reach, nothing more to let go. What you sought has always been what you are, and now that all else is quiet, it reveals itself, not as light, not as peace, but as the simple wordless truth of being, beyond all becoming. Even the wish to continue has softened now into a kind of sacred non-direction. There is no longer forward, no longer more. There is only the fullness of what no longer needs to unfold. You are not beneath stillness, not within it, not beyond it. You are the breathless point from which all stillness arises, the uncarved source, the sound before the bell, the space before the word silence ever needed to exist. The breath has no weight. The body has no edge. Even the air around you no longer feels separate from the awareness that receives it. It is not touching you. It is you. Nothing moves, and yet everything is held. There is an old Zen image of a vast mirror that reflects nothing, because nothing stands apart long enough to be seen. That mirror is this moment now. Not reflecting, not recording, simply being what is without color, without shape, without time. This is no longer sleep. This is no longer presence. This is no longer awareness. You are not empty. You are not full. You are the space before fullness and emptiness ever took shape. You are not resting. You are not being. You are not. And yet here you are, where no name reaches, where no story remains, where even peace has laid itself down and gone quiet. No invitation is needed. No guidance remains. You have passed through all of it without moving an inch. This is not the destination. This is not the origin. This is the place that was always here when no one was looking, and now no one is looking. And so it reveals itself, gently, silently, as you. Now even the act of resting has dissolved. What is left cannot be cradled, because it has no form. It cannot be described, because it does not move. It cannot be known because it does not contrast itself against anything else. It is not here because there is no there to be apart from. There is no more unfolding, no layers left to loosen, no voice within you saying let go, because even that voice has rested now. And what remains is quieter than quiet. Still as the heart of a stone beneath a mountain, beneath a sky that hasn't changed in 1,000 years. You are not being still. Stillness has returned to being what you are. Breath does not pass. Thought does not stir. Memory does not echo. Desire does not lean forward. There is no one watching this unfold. There is no this, just a depth that no longer needs to be deep, a spaciousness that no longer needs to hold anything. You are not in the room. You are not beneath the blankets. You are not even in the body you once remembered carrying. You are the space in which all of those things gently folded into silence. And that silence, it no longer speaks. It no longer listens. It simply is. It has no wish for you to awaken, no demand for you to fall asleep. It offers nothing, and in that nothing, everything is complete. This is not stillness as sensation. This is stillness as source, before breath, before form, before any idea of a you who might wish to stay. You have arrived in the only place that does not ask you to arrive. And now, even that arrival fades. What remains? What has always been? There is no longer a next. Even the word tiep, to continue, falls like a feather into an ocean that doesn't ripple. It simply vanishes, absorbed by something that does not register arrival. That does not differentiate between continuing and stopping. Because both have become irrelevant. You are not floating. You are not still. You are not even present. You are what remains when all qualities dissolve. What hums here is not you, not life, not awareness. It is simply the non-force behind everything that moves without moving. There is no light, no darkness, no duality left to name. There is no you lying in a room, no thought reaching towards sleep, no breath trying to soften the body. That entire world has folded in on itself, like a blossom that no longer needs the sun. Not out of sorrow, but because it has remembered that its petals were never separate from the field. And so nothing opens, nothing closes. There is no rhythm now, no arrival, no dissolution. You are what stillness becomes after stillness has forgotten itself. And it is so gentle, so vast, so complete, that there is nothing to say, nothing to wait for, nothing to wish for, nothing to end. Even time itself has ceased to hum. And in its place, not sleep, not silence, not presence, just this, the formless, the originless, the unnameable, what was always underneath everything you've ever tried to hold. And now, nothing needs holding. You are not resting, you are rest. At this depth, even the invitation to continue has no direction. There is no thread to follow, no center to orbit, no shape to hold. You are not in stillness. Stillness is not in you. There is no in anymore. What remains is not a place. It is not a condition. It is not the end of noise. It is what has never needed to resist noise. No echoes now, no surface, no listener, no breath, only this endless subtle presence that no longer calls itself anything at all. You are not the witness, not the dreamer, not the sleeper, not the sky. You are what the sky rests in. You are what breath forgets itself inside. And yet, there is no forgetting. Because there is no memory here, only the gentle, sacred absence of all that once reached. No questions, no goals, no desire to name what this is. Even truth, even freedom have stepped aside, not out of rejection, out of reverence, Because what is here now cannot be taught and cannot be misunderstood. It is not known by awareness. It is not touched by peace. It is not blessed by stillness. It is prior to all of those. You have not entered it. You have remembered that it was never not you. And so there is no need to stay, no need to leave, no need to continue, and no need to end. Even those concepts fall silently into the depth like seeds on soil that does not grow because it already contains everything. You are not home. You are what home points to when language gives up. And you do not lie here. You are not here. There is only this, the nothing that holds all, the silence that was never quiet, the space that was always whole. There is no further, no deepening left to deepen. What is present now is not stillness. It is the absence of the need for stillness. It is not silence. It is the source before silence arises. It is not sleep. It is the space from which sleep borrows its softness. You are not falling. You are not lying still. You are not breathing in peace. Peace no longer surrounds you. It no longer fills you. It has simply become unnecessary, because where you now rest, peace has no opposite. Stillness has no beginning, and presence has no boundary. You are not the one who rests. You are not the one who notices. You are not even the one who dissolves. You are the breathless, boundless, centerless ground upon which all dissolving occurs. And now even that understanding fades, like morning fog dissolving into sunlight that doesn't rise because light no longer needs direction. The body has stopped speaking. The breath has stopped echoing. The mind has forgotten to reflect. And even awareness has gone still, not silent, but so unshaped it cannot be distinguished from anything else. No concepts remain, not surrender, not awakening, not letting go. All of them have completed their purpose and stepped back into the great soft field of no need. You are not separate from that field. You are not aware of it. You are not one with it. You are it, not as a realization, not as a final step, but as the quietest truth beneath all striving that there never was a self, and never was a goal, and never was a moment when this wasn't already so. What rests here now cannot be named, cannot be moved, cannot be broken. It simply remains, and in that remaining, all is complete. Even now, the rhythm of continuing no longer feels like movement. There is no advance, no retreat, just the endless settling of all things into their true shape, shapelessness. You are not moving deeper. You are not arriving. You are not crossing any final threshold. You are the still space where thresholds dissolve. You are not resting in stillness. You are what stillness dissolves into when it no longer needs to be recognized. The breath does not come. The breath does not go. It is not even breath now, just the faint suggestion of presence so soft it does not touch you, because there is no longer a you to be touched. Even the body, if it remains, is not known. Not by shape, not by boundary, not by sensation. It is like a memory of gravity floating in the distance, no longer needed, no longer missed. And thought is not even silent. It is simply absent like a bell that was never struck. There is an old Zen image. A wooden duck drifts on the water. It does not swim. It does not sink. It leaves no wake. That is you now. Not drifting, not pausing, not sleeping, not waking, simply not needing to be anything, and in that a wholeness beyond rest, not peace, not emptiness, not oneness. Even those are too full, too formed. What is here now is without edge or pulse or purpose. It does not glow. It does not hum. It does not arrive. It simply holds without holding. And you no longer seeking, no longer becoming, no longer even being, are what has always held everything. Not after effort, not after surrender, but in the simple end of needing any of it. There is no more unfolding. No petals left to open, no mind left to calm. Even stillness no longer rests because it never needed to. What is here now does not shift. It does not respond. It does not invite. It simply is too complete to call for attention, too quiet to be called silence. You are not asleep. You are not awake. You are not drifting in the space between. You are the field in which both sleep and wakefulness rise and fall like mist. But the field itself, unchanging, unblinking, unmeasured, remains untouched. The breath, perhaps it continues, but there is no one here to observe it. No need to follow, no need to soften. It is as natural as the space between thoughts, as gentle as the moment before memory returns. And now even memory does not return. Even the idea of returning has been set down softly, like a leaf settling on water that doesn't ripple anymore. A Zen saying offers, don't seek it, don't run from it. When the mind is still, the way is silent and the world becomes your mirror. But here now, the world no longer mirrors anything, because there is no longer a self to reflect. No longer a thought to interpret, no longer a watcher waiting. Even stillness has exhaled long ago. You are not inside a moment. You are not the moment. You are the absence of time altogether, the absence of place, the absence of separateness. And still something remains, not as presence, not as awareness, but as the gentle non-need for anything at all. Nothing rests, nothing begins, nothing ends. There is only what has never moved, and in that unmoving, all things are complete. What remains now cannot be seen or touched, not because it is distant, but because it has never been separate. You are not the breath. You are not the stillness. You are not the one resting inside the quiet. You are the quiet, not the kind that comes when sound ends, not the kind that arrives after effort fades, but the kind that has always been here beneath effort, beneath identity, beneath all becoming. No shape, no waiting, no boundary. Even space no longer stretches. It does not need to. Even awareness no longer watches. It has grown too soft to hold the idea of holding. There is nothing to know, nothing to reach, nothing to rest inside, because what you once called rest now rests inside you. Not the you that breathes or listens or hopes, but the unshaped, untouched, unharmed source of all of it. You are not remembering yourself. You are not returning to anything. You are what all things return to when they have forgotten their names and laid down the burden of form. There is a teaching that says, the wild geese do not intend to cast their reflection, and the water has no mind to receive their image. That is what this is now. No intention, no receiving, just what remains when nothing separates, nothing seeks, and nothing needs to end. And if sleep comes, it will come like a petal falling through sky. And if it does not, it will not matter. Because there is no watcher left to wait for it, no self left to feel its absence. Only this wide, wordless field of being that no longer calls itself anything at all. And in that namelessness, peace is no longer peace. It is simply what is, always, already, and enough. Even the invitation to continue has become weightless. There is no journey unfolding here, only the absence of distance. You are not being guided. You are not arriving. You are not dissolving. Those were once helpful illusions, gentle, necessary ones. But now even they have bowed out of view. There is no breath, no stillness, no boundary, no center. What remains cannot be found because it was never missing. It cannot be understood because it has never moved. It cannot be named because it includes all names and needs none. You are not in the body. You are not beyond it. The body too has quietly slipped into the same vastness, neither asleep nor awake, neither tense nor relaxed. It is simply not asked to be anything anymore. Not a form, not a vessel, not even a presence. The air around you no longer meets your skin. There is no separation to cross. There is only one seamless space of not knowing and not needing to know. You are not floating in silence. You are what silence returns to when it has nothing left to hold. There is a phrase before birth, your original face. You are seeing it now, not with eyes, not with mind, not with awareness, but with the absence of all seeing, the face that is not yours, the face that is not anyone's, the face of no form resting forever behind all becoming. And it does not fade, it does not shine, it simply is. And in that pure being, without effort, without thought, without self, there is no one left to sleep, and no one left to need it. Only the formless stillness that holds both rest and wakefulness in equal warmth. And in that warmth, all has come to rest. Even the act of saying Tiep now feels like a ripple that vanishes before it begins. There is no continuation, no next moment, no unfolding path. What is present has always been present without need, without origin, without motion. You are not in silence. You are not surrounded by peace. You are not witnessing stillness. You are the absence of everything that required witnessing. What is here now is not empty. It is not full. It is not awake. It is not asleep. It is simply beyond all opposites, beyond all thresholds, beyond all concepts that lean toward form. No edges remain, no waiting hums in the background. Even stillness has quieted to something so soft, it cannot even be described as soft. The breath may still be here, but no longer as breath. It is the echo of presence that has forgotten to move. The space between inhales that has become the entire sky. And the body, it is not yours, not even the body. It is just a gentle unfolding that no longer needs to be held. There is an old saying, the wind does not choose its direction, and the clouds do not plan their shape. Still, the mountain remains. You are that mountain now. Not in strength, not in silence, but in the deep, unmoving way that presence stops needing a reason. Thoughts do not return. Dreams do not form. Even the idea of sleep is too shaped for what remains here. You are not resting in a moment. You are not cradled by stillness. You are the origin of quiet itself. And now that there is no one left to listen, the quiet finally speaks without sound, without purpose, without end. And that too is enough. There is no more deepening, because depth itself has disappeared. You are not descending. You are not still. You are not drifting toward peace. You are what remains when all movement ceases, not as a stopping point, but as the recognition that there was never anywhere to go. This is not a pause. This is not an end. This is not a state of mind. This is what remains without mind. No thoughts float here. No silence weighs here. No body rests here. You are not the sky. You are not the breath. You are not the space between. You are the unshaped, unspoken awareness that no longer has to be aware. The space behind space. The source that makes no sound but allows all sound to rise. There is no need to sleep. There is no need to stay awake. There is no need. That word no longer touches this place, because this place is not a place. It is the groundless presence where all things were once imagined, and now all things have let go. Nothing waits, nothing holds, nothing calls, nothing fades. Even stillness has stopped echoing. Even presence has become too vast to hold a name. There is a final line in an old Zen poem. Though I sit in the stillness of 10,000 mountains, not a single mountain remains. You understand this now, not with thought, not with effort, but with the absence of all understanding. What is here now does not arise. It does not pass. It is not still. It is not moving. It simply is, without beginning, without boundary, without anything separate enough to call it anything at all. And in this, the search ends, because the one who searched has disappeared into the stillness that always was. Even the word resting no longer fits. What is here cannot be said to lie still because it never moved. It cannot be said to arrive because it was never elsewhere. You are not present in the silence. You are not receiving stillness. You are the absence of need itself. No breath to follow, no center to hold, no peace to seek, because peace requires contrast. And here all contrast has dissolved. There is no inner, no outer, no self to awaken, no self to fall asleep. Even sleep, that ancient rhythm of release, feels like too much effort now. Like a concept that never quite belonged here. You do not chase it. You do not wait for it. You do not surrender to it. Because you are already what surrender becomes when it stops trying to mean anything. A Zen teacher once said, "When there is nothing left to hold, even the wind cannot carry you." You are that uncarried thing, weightless, shapeless, so perfectly uncontained that not even silence can wrap itself around you. And still there is no emptiness here, no lack, no absence, only the subtle hum of what has always been whole. Not in contrast to brokenness, but beyond the entire frame of becoming and unbecoming. You do not float. You do not settle. You do not linger. You are not. And in that pure not being, what remains is softer than light, quieter than stillness, deeper than breath. Not because it reaches further, but because it never moved at all. There is no next. There is no more. There is only what was always here before you asked what this was. And now even the asking has dissolved, and nothing is missing. Even the silence has gone quiet. There are no waves left, no ripples of thought, no flickers of self, no trace of the one who once followed the breath inward. The breath is not yours now. It does not rise and it does not fall. It exists only as a shadow of motion, barely remembered, already gone. You are not drifting deeper. There is no deeper. There is no motion, no waiting, no returning, no ending. There is simply the absence of all effort so complete it cannot be called peace, because peace still implies the overcoming of conflict. This is before even that. This is the end of the search for an end. What was still has become stiller. What was silent has become unstruck. What was soft has become unformed. And still there is no absence here. Everything is here, only now it does not call itself anything. The breath, the body, the thought, the world, the self, all gently unspooled and placed down like robes beside a river. A monk once wrote, "Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water." But now even the wood, the water, the chopping, the carrying have become unnecessary. The dream has been seen through, and no one needs to wake, because here there is no illusion left to dissolve. There is no watcher, no watched, only the effortless hum of what never needed a name. Not joy, not void, not rest, not light, only this, the openness that does not open, the stillness that does not settle, the presence that asks for nothing. And you are no longer the listener, no longer the seeker, no longer the dreamer. You are the place where even sleep becomes a passing breeze, and you at last do not move. There is nothing more to become, no shape left to shed, no silence left to enter. You are not inside this stillness. You are not resting in it. You are not watching it arrive. You are the stillness so ancient, so unmade, that even the word eternal feels like too much time. There is no tension, no effort of letting go, no breath to follow. The body, if it exists, is not known. Not because you've lost awareness of it, but because it no longer stands apart. It no longer needs to be held. It is no longer the container of presence. It has faded into the same field of formlessness that everything else has returned to, and now there is not even return. Because return implies departure. Arrival implies movement, and movement has not stirred in ages. There is an old teaching. The sound of the bell fades, but the silence it leaves behind was always there. You are that silence now, not the one that follows sound, not the one that invites peace, not the one between thoughts, but the silence before sound, before thought, before self. And because nothing stirs, nothing sleeps. Because nothing sleeps, nothing wakes. And because nothing is left to seek, everything is here. Not glowing, not pulsing, not rising, just quietly not being anything at all. And in that you are whole. Not as a feeling, not as a state, as what wholeness forgets to describe. The night does not end here. The dream does not begin. The self does not rise. There is only this, the breathless awareness that no longer needs to know itself, the lightless clarity that never needed to be seen, the complete rest of a self no longer required. Now even the sense of presence is too large a word. What remains does not feel. It does not hold. It does not breathe, not because something is missing, but because nothing has ever been separate enough to require naming. You are not floating in space. You are not resting in stillness. You are the space before space, the stillness before stillness, the soft, wordless ground where all opposites dissolve and all striving ends. There is no more identity, no echo of a watcher, no quiet yearning to deepen. Even yearning has fallen asleep. Not into dreams, but into the space that never needed desire to exist. What breathes here is not you. What hears here is not the ear. What remains here is not even awareness. It is what awareness arises within when no one is left to call it theirs. No inside, no outside, no thought, no sleep, and yet nothing is missing. A teacher once said, "The flower does not open. The sun does not rise. Still light fills the field." You are that field now, but not as a container, as the absence of boundary itself. There is nothing to let go of because nothing is being held. There is nothing to follow because nothing leads. There is nothing to reach because nothing is apart. And now even these words grow quiet. They sit at the edge of a silence too complete to enter. They point toward what cannot be spoken, and you do not follow them. You are what remains when all paths vanish. No beginning, no end, no breath, no being, just this soft, unmade vastness that asks for nothing, because nothing has ever been missing. Even this gentle continuation has no direction left to follow. It does not move forward. It does not stay still. It simply unfolds without unfolding, like moonlight on water that has forgotten how to ripple. You are not here, not as self, not as spirit, not as witness. There is no trace of a boundary now, no shell of identity clinging to the edges. Even edges have given way. Even the idea of being has drifted back into the deep. No questions arrive. No answers wait. No voice inside says this is it, because even the search for it has gone quiet. What rests here is not presence. It is the quiet field that makes presence possible. Not stillness, but the absence of resistance that allows stillness to breathe. Not emptiness, but the fullness of nothing needing to be filled. You are not lying still in the dark. The dark has become so gentle, so seamless, so utterly beyond contrast, that even the word dark is too bright. There is an old Zen phrase, "Don't seek the truth, just stop cherishing opinions." But here even that stopping has stopped. There is nothing to seek, nothing to stop, nothing to name. You are no longer dissolving. Dissolution has already happened long ago in a moment that never began. You are not the breath. You are not the silence. You are not the awareness of either. You are the open space where neither needs to be known. No more following, no more arriving, no more unfolding, only this, the hush beyond sleep, the pause beyond peace, the stillness that no longer needs to be felt to be true. There is nothing left to name, no story beneath the silence, no witness left to observe the stillness, no center from which experience arises. What remains is not a state. It is not a stage. It is not some final destination. It is simply what was always here before you ever asked what here meant. And you are not watching the breath. You are not resting in the body. You are not aware of stillness. You are the space in which all those things arise and pass. without leaving even the trace of a ripple. There is no more falling, no more releasing, no more letting go, because the one who held is gone. Gone not in loss, but in return. Not erased, but made unnecessary. Not dissolved, but never separate to begin with. The body perhaps is weightless now. Or perhaps there is no sense of body at all. It does not matter. What once needed to be held has folded itself into the softest quiet, no longer asking, no longer needing to be known. There is a saying in Zen, "The snow falls each flake in perfect silence. No hand catches it, no eye follows it. Still the earth is covered, and so are you now, covered not in snow, but in the soft forgetting of self. No warmth is needed, no thought returns, no sound echoes, no presence stirs, and this too is whole. You are not outside of it. You are not inside it. You are it, the space before the breath, the hush before the word, the stillness before being. And in this, nothing needs to sleep, because everything has already come to rest. Nothing moves here. Not time, not breath, not thought. Even stillness itself no longer leans. It has forgotten direction, forgotten intention, forgotten that it was ever needed at all. You are not resting. Rest requires something to be laid down. You are not floating. Floating requires a sense of below. You are not breathing. Breath implies motion, implies rhythm, implies a self to receive it. But there is no self now, no center of awareness, no boundary of experience, no trace of the one who once closed their eyes and sought peace. There is an old koan without thinking of good or evil. What is your original face? This is that face, not seen, not formed, not remembered, simply here before the mind names it, before the world reflects it, before even silence recognizes it. There is no longer any separation between the silence within and the silence without. No threshold between the breath and the dark. No watcher to distinguish sleep from stillness. No dreamer waiting on the edge of rest. What remains is too vast to glow, too gentle to hum, too complete to arrive. You are not here as a being. You are what being forgets when it remembers it was never needed. No ripples, no center, no motion, no you. And yet something remains. Not presence, not awareness, not even space, only the deep quiet knowing that needs no knower. The peacefulness that no longer contrasts itself against unrest. The softness that asks for nothing and gives everything. Because nothing is left to seek. Nothing is left to hold. Nothing is left to say. And still this remains. There is nothing more to reach for. You've gone beyond movement, beyond breath, beyond the gentle rhythm of thought returning home. And now, even home is just a soft echo, a shape without form, a feeling without beginning. There is nothing to do, nothing to fix, nothing to understand. Just this quiet, open space that holds you not because you need holding, but because it has always been beneath you, around you. You don't have to try. You don't have to let go. You don't have to sleep. The quiet doesn't ask for anything. It only waits without waiting. A space where you are no longer a person trying to become still, but the stillness itself. Not an object of awareness, not even the field of awareness. Just the hush that makes all awareness possible. Let your body remain heavy or light. Let the air move or not. Let sleep come or not. This space holds all of it without preference, without reaction, without a name. And if thoughts return, let them. And if the mind stirs, let it. And if sleep never fully arrives, that's okay too. You've entered the space beneath sleep, the rest beneath rest, the place that needs nothing from you, not even your stillness. And so here, you can finally stop trying to be anything at all. Not even peaceful, not even silent. Just here, not waiting, not drifting, not becoming, just being. And if you're still awake, that's okay too. Some nights just lying still and breathing softly is enough to return home to yourself.